Welcome into Sports Memo's betting podcast, XFL Opening Line Report with Teddy Covers. Teddy, welcome into the pod. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, Drew. How about yourself today? Congratulations, buddy. You had, a 5%er yesterday that was about as easy as it comes in the XFL, of course. So let me give you kudos for that. Right side winner. The client certainly enjoyed that one, as well as you and your bankroll.
Absolutely, man. This XFL is fun. It's even more fun when you're winning, Teddy. You know how that feels, right?
I do know that very well. All of this is a lot more fun when you're winning.
Exactly. But overall, I mean, I think it's a really fun league, really cool league. For college football fans out there, I think that it's a cool way to track where the players went that didn't exactly make it to the NFL but still have aspirations too. Hearing the coaches talk to the players, I think it's a really cool thing in terms of just experience of watching it on TV. I think this has staying power. If you ask a bet right now, minus 110 on both sides, will the XFL be here in 3.5 years? I'm going to say yes, Teddy. What do you say?
3.5 years? Yeah. That's a long time.
I like it, man. I think there's a lot of people that like it as well.
I don't disagree. We need to see the ratings stabilize before I bet that, over 3.5 years, because the ratings have gone down every week. Yeah. And they may well continue to go down every week for a while. That being said, the owner of the league has very deep pockets and is very interested in it. So, in the product. So I don't think they pull the plug until it's hopeless. So you got a chance, but I wouldn't make that number pick 'em. The 3.5 years, the survive has to be the dog.
Okay. All right. Well, heck, we'll see what happens. And I might have gotten a little aggressive there with the 3.5. But hey, off of a winning week, and it's football, and I am an American. Well, hey, but this is about the opening lines here. They just actually popped, right, Teddy?
Yeah, I mean, literally within the last 5 minutes, within the 5 minutes before we went on air, we saw lines come up at William Hill. We saw lines come up at Circa. We saw lines come up at Caesar. So they're all just popping as we speak.
And it's pretty much a situation, because I didn't even have it up, guys, and we're talking about 11 a.m. Pacific time Monday morning, and Teddy was just reading them off to me. And is it something where, one of the Vegas books led the market and then everybody else just followed within 5 minutes like we see with college basketball? Or was it a different type of situation there, Teddy?
Let me get the actual times these lines popped. I won't answer that question.
No worries. Without a lot of times, guys, and this happens with almost every sport out there in terms of one sports book will release, and then it's pretty much a copycat thing. Every other sports book goes off of their numbers, maybe just shading a half a point depending on how they feel about each side or total. But just wanted to give the proper credit.
So Circa opened first.
Okay, Circa.
Circa opened first. William Hill followed, and then Caesars came shortly after that. So Circa's numbers were the only numbers available for about 15 minutes. And then Caesars went literally right at 11:30. William Hill went 11:27, and the Caesars went right at 11:30.
Okay.
So there was a 15-minute window where Circa had the only numbers.
All right.
That I know. But now 5 Dimes has just opened. So, I mean, literally, as we're speaking, and I'm talking both here in Vegas, in Jersey, offshore, it is a global marketplace. In reality, and we don't have sponsors telling you who you can and can't talk about, it's easy to talk about the global marketplace as opposed to whatever book, or specific book or two that we have to talk about. And there is significant variance at the open. That's worth talking about, I think, Drew, because, again, it's a new league, and you have different books with different opinions right now. The markets will come together, but as we speak, there's basically line variance on every game, which won't be the case by the time kickoffs come around this weekend.
Yeah, it's a wild market, and usually, inefficiencies in the market create a opportunity for sports bettors to get a little advantage here. And guys, remember to shop around. If you have multiple sports books, that is an advantage to you. So, Teddy, let's just start off top of the card here. Seattle at Houston. We'll break them all down. Looks like, Houston anywhere from minus 12 to minus 13, 46.5 the total. I'll throw it over to you, Teddy. I got some thoughts on this one as well, but Seattle versus Houston, what are you thinking? Opening line report style here, Teddy.
Sure. So it's worth noting, William Hill's at 13, Circa's at 12, Caesars opened 13. The first bet took them down to 11.5. So there's a little bit of, it's still early in the process. The first bet at one book came on came on Seattle plus. Houston, of course, sealing the win with a goal line interception where they have 4 picks this past weekend. You weren't happy with that.
It kept me from an undefeated weekend because I had the over in that game. They got all the way down to the 2-yard line, Teddy. But heck, that's not the opening line report. That's in the past. Sorry for interrupting.
You're allowed to have a moment, dude. I knew you had over in that game, and that was the only game that I really watched thoroughly over the weekend, and to see it at the end. Where it's like,
quarterback went down and everything, and we still had a shot.
Sure. But the bottom line, they became Houston their first under bet of the season. That being said, I mean, are the Roughnecks the best team? They certainly have that feel. As if not the team to beat, one of the teams to beat. In general, I want to be on the teams that I want to be that are the teams to beat. And certainly from an offensive standpoint, I mean, the Dragons, well, they're not the Guardians, but they're not all that much better. Do you see money coming to dog here? And, total-wise, fairly high. Again, Houston's been the only team that's cashed overs regularly. They didn't get there last week, but it's not like Seattle's been an over team in early XFL action.
No, not at all, Teddy. I mean, I believe if you take Houston out of the equation, there's only like 2 overs otherwise in the XFL. So, yeah, they are the team that knocks down the overs. Seattle, they did make the change at the quarterback position. I thought it was a good change, a pop offensively. We saw it right out with the change running at the quarterback position. Seattle is not a team, Teddy, I'm looking to necessarily fade, and I know I'm in the minority on that in terms of, a lot of people talking about Seattle possibly the worst team in the XFL. I don't see that. Now, granted, I'm looking to bet on them way more at home than I am on the road, especially on the road against the best team in the XFL by my power rating numbers. I mean, this has a shot to be, Houston 40, Seattle nothing. So you got to kind of watch yourself if you're going to kind of step in front of that Houston side. But at the same time, I think if there is a little bit of value here on an inflated number. And, you talk about the first at least big bet. And when we talk big in XFL openers, what is that, Teddy, $500?
Yeah, maybe 1,000.
I mean, when you said it opened 13 and then now it's 11.5, is that just, in your opinion, one bet for $1,000 that would move it 1.5?
Potentially, yeah. I don't know what. I haven't gone in a circuit and bet limits on XFL. I'm assuming it's 1,000. That might be $2,000, but it's not. You're not talking about a $5,000 or $10,000 bet. No.
Okay, and I know William Hill was 500 because I was asking him yesterday. Circa, I believe, was only 500 at least the first 2 weeks when I was betting into the opener. So it's not much. They might have gone up to 1,000 here. Well, I'll check that out and hit us up on Twitter at Teddy_covers or at TrueMartinBets. We'll have the answer on that here this afternoon. But overall, Teddy, I could see Seattle taking money. I doubt this goes higher than 13 just because we haven't seen a lot of big numbers in the XFL. I just doubt I get involved sidewise. And talk about the total, 46.5. Just my opening thoughts here, Teddy. I don't have a lot of interest both side and total on this first game. Do you?
No, and look, when we talk about the travel spots in the XFL, this is definitely something worth watching as the season progresses. All right, there's no like New York to Philly, there aren't many short road trips. Mm-hmm. All right, you have Seattle traveling to Houston, you have New York traveling to Dallas, you have St. Louis traveling to D.C., you have Tampa traveling to L.A. 3 of the 4 are halfway across the country. The 4th one's all the way across the country. And that's the way it is. So, and as the season progresses, you would think that just, and again, as a theoretical, but I would think that some of these travel spots will get tougher and tougher. And home field advantage may be worth more as the season goes on than it was initially. Because the travel spots, they're all tough. And they're all involved, basically, unless New York's going to D.C., they pretty much all involve some type of significant travel.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, travel is a huge part of the handicap here in the XFL, guys. That's where I've had some success. So hopefully we can find some more spots here in the last 3 games. Guys, check out Teddy Covers, sportsmemo.com. He is red hot right now, 21-7. That's 75% all sports the last 2 weeks. He's red hot, 11-3, 79% in the NBA since the All-Star break. Also 64%, only 64% in college hoops the last 3 weeks. Compared to the other sports, that's not bad there, Teddy. 64% being the lowest number you're producing right now. NBA post All-Star break last year, 60%. So he's done it in the longer term as well. Check him out, sportsmemo.com. Coupon code for this podcast, Teddy30, gives you his 30 days, his next 30 days, all sports, all access for just $199. That's more than $100 off right now, guys. It's active for the next 48 hours. This coupon code for this podcast, Teddy30 at checkout for his 30-day all-access package. We got next game up here, Teddy. Second game on Saturday, New York at Dallas. Now, guys, keep in mind, talk about change as a sports bettor. This one is probably the biggest change because Landry Jones for Dallas, the quarterback, they were 2-0 with him under center. It looked like, and I haven't seen any reports here, Teddy, he went out limping his knee, the same knee he injured before. So I wouldn't expect for him to play, although I haven't read anything here Sunday night or Monday. Dallas -9, -9.5 at home. They're hosting New York. Total of 37.5. Right off the bat, Teddy, I think this total's a little bit too high. We're seeing it in the high 30s here. And with the injury at the quarterback position for Dallas, New York's offensive struggles, I am going to bet that this total goes down before kickoff, not up. How do you feel about New York versus Dallas?
In which case you want to grab a 38 now.
Yeah.
There's a 38 as we speak at William Hill. There's 37.5 at Circa. There's 36.5 at Caesars, and I wouldn't argue at all with the line more likely, with the total, I should say, more likely to go down than to go up. I mean, when you talk about the key factors, I mean, Dallas with the QB injury. And look, this opened 11.5 at Circa, and then bet down to 9.5, then bet down to 8.5. At William Hill and Caesars, open 9, bet down to 8. So all the initial money's coming on the dog, and it's all based, I would think, on the Landry Jones situation for the Renegades. That being said, I mean, the Guardians, when it comes to offensive line play, I haven't seen an offensive line look worse than theirs. All the blame, they have no quarterbacks, they have no receivers. Yeah, that's true, too. So I would think that points may well be at a premium in that game. Certainly makes a ton of sense. And if you like that under, the 38 right now, I'm not convinced that'll be there, by tomorrow at this time.
Okay, good stuff there, Teddy. On the Saturday games, we got Sunday's action, and then, guys, we'll open it up here. Maybe a little political talk, NBA, who knows. We got St. Louis at D.C. up next. St. Louis, you talk about top teams, power rating-wise. I would put Houston 1. St. Louis, I got right on their heels here, Teddy. Good quarterback, good offense overall, and the defense plays tough as well. -1 in the hook on the road. 39.5 the total. Now, D.C. took it on the chin the last 2 weeks, Teddy, but they were travel spots, kind of tough one, especially that second one down to Tampa. Now they're coming back home. They've been a different team at home. This is an interesting handicap in terms of home-road splits, or is this team headed in the wrong direction? 39.5 being the total. St. Louis -1.5 on the road here. Any feelings St. Louis versus D.C.?
And the 1.5s are gone. The 2s are disappearing. William Hill still has 2s, but 5 Dimes is at 3, Circa's at 3, and Caesar's already at 3 for the Battlehawks. So there's not a lot of love for Cardell Jones and the defenders right now, at least in the initial openers off of these, the initial XFL openers here for Week 5. You can certainly understand why. I mean, DC's. When you compare when you think back of what they looked like against New York in Week 2, compared to what they looked like on either of their 2 road games, I mean, you're like, what happened to this team? That said, I mean, you see those post-game quotes from Cardell Jones. He's throwing his offensive line under the bus. He's throwing his receivers under the bus. From a chemistry standpoint, some of the things happening in D.C. over the last couple of days is concerning, and the markets already are on it. That's why the Battlehawks have taken those first bets. The team chemistry situation in D.C. is very questionable right now. And it's something worth paying attention to this week if you're going to get involved in this game. I'm going to know that locker room stable before I would take the defenders as a home dog. And I'm going to know that locker room's not stable before I lay a price on the road with St. Louis here.
In laying a price on the road, because the next game up, the last game on Sunday, is also a road favorite here. How much does that worry you, just conceptually speaking, Teddy, as far as laying prices on the road in the XFL?
I mean, in general, I want to be betting on good teams and betting against bad teams, which means that sometimes you're going to be laying prices on the road. All that said, when you're talking about these cross-country flights and these cross-country spots, and this isn't, a situation where everything's smooth and easy necessarily. Tampa's a one-win team. It's not like they've been elite. They're coming off their best game of the year by far, and now they got to go cross-country. It's not a spot where I'm excited about laying a price with Tampa. What about you? I mean, and again, when we look at the books, there's a Tampa minus 2.5 out there right now as we speak. Again, off the openers, Caesars Open pick'em, and it hasn't moved yet. So that's a fairly significant variance. Week 5 into the season, we're talking about a 2.5 point favorite versus a pick'em line. From book to book, where do you think this number is going to swing? Because that's the key as to which side you want to bet right now. I'm not convinced that the love's going to come for Tampa here. I'm not convinced of that at all.
No, I mean, I guess, okay, for St. Louis, D.C., no, I could see St. Louis taking money, see the road favorite taking money in that one. I guess we'll just go into the last game here, Tampa Bay, L.A. We got Tampa Bay, I guess, minus 2-ish, 39 being the total. No, I don't see this team kind of being strong enough to overcome that bias against road teams in the XFL. So, no, I would actually look for L.A. to take some money here. I doubt myself. I'm going to go back to the well here with Tampa Bay after this past week, just because a big portion of the handicap was DC back-to-back road games and Tampa Bay coming home and just being undervalued in the marketplace. Now I think after a 20-plus point shellacking of DC last week, that's kind of gone. That's water under the bridge, at least in my thinking. However, there's the handicapping angle, Teddy, which, I've had probably some of the most success in my career is when you find a team that's undervalued, don't stop betting them. Keep riding that wave. That's kind of your best friend as a sports bettor. So I'm kind of in a quandary in terms of go back to Tampa Bay here, but they are on the road. It's a different situation, and L.A. isn't bad. I mean, I feel that their quarterback's pretty good. He's pretty accurate, and he can run as well. So I don't know. I kind of like this over, but at the same time, I like L.A. at home. I could see them going off as the favorite by kickoff, Teddy.
And Tampa is, would you say Tampa's the best running team in the XFL? It's certainly one of they're all about the ground game right now, especially, with the mobile QB.
Yeah.
So in my mind, this game probably comes down to a fairly fundamental handicap, the same type of handicap we would look at in the NFL or college football, which is one team wants to run the football. Can the other team stop them? Because if LA can stop them, Tampa's not going anywhere. If LA can prevent Tampa from grinding out first downs on the ground, it may well be a fairly long, is it afternoon? No, it'll be an evening. Fairly long evening for the Vipers.
Yeah. No, I've noticed that. XFL's doing the Sunday nighter kind of, taking that time slot. I like it, man. You kind of end your weekend with a American professional football game here to bet on as a sports bettor. But, guys, the coupon code for the podcast, Teddy30 at checkout, his next 30 days for only $199. That's more than $100 off at sportsmemo.com. Good for the next 48 hours. Coupon code Teddy30 at checkout. Teddy, XFL opening line report. I know a lot of people ask for it on Twitter, at Drew Martin Bets or at Teddy_covers. We just hit it. Where do you want to go from here, man?
Well, okay, so first of all, thank you. We've gotten great feedback on this podcast. We really appreciate it. I know last week we went a little bit off the cuff and did some talked about politics, which to me is fascinating from a betting standpoint. And we got some great feedback on it. Some people hated it. It's not like we're going to do it every week, but it was the right time. It was an interesting segment, I thought. I hope it was anyway. Although, obviously, things have changed dramatically between last week and this week. We talk about coronavirus and Trump being a great favorite at I thought it should be minus $3. And coronavirus changes things in that regard from an economic standpoint. which shows the volatility of the political marketplace. So whatever. I don't want to go on and on about politics. Let's leave that one alone. But the bottom line is, with the coronavirus and the stock market crash last week, I too changed my Trump number from -$3 to -250.
As you should.
For what it's worth. Yeah, I thought it was appropriate. We can certainly. Well, we can talk Tom Brady, dude. There are bettable numbers for Tom Brady, and one of the things we wanted to focus on was some of the interesting props and stuff for the football marketplace in the offseason as to where Brady's going to go. Obviously, the Patriots, the favorite, they opened -$2 at William Hill. Now they're -160. The Raiders are the number 2 choice. The Chargers, the number 3 choice. The Titans have been taking some interest. With Brady was what game was it? It was at the Syracuse basketball game, and they did a screen. The camera went to him, and he was on the phone with Vrabel from the Titans. While he was at the Syracuse game, and oh my God, he's going to Tennessee. He's going to Tennessee, and the Titans opened 20-1. Now they're down to 10-1. So the Brady story really is a little bit fascinating right now. Although the field has been the highest percentage of tickets bet. Where do you think Brady's going to go? And again, talking to Raiders fans here in Vegas, they don't want him.
Teddy,
you take Carr over Brady next year?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know where. I would say probably the favorite is the Patriots. I could see him in L.A. or in Las Vegas on the Raiders. Why not? It's not like they. I don't know why, though. I don't know. It's not like they're going to need to sell tickets. The Raiders are going to sell out every game with or without Tom Brady. And
correct.
What does he actually do? Yeah, the experience. I get it. A 2-year contract. If that's what it is, a 2-year contract, I'd say go for it. Let him end his season here. I guess what him and Giselle bought a house here. But I've also heard from an insider, a guy that's lived here longer than me, is he bought his house, I believe, in Summerlin. And therefore, when he would be traveling to the practice, the practice fields, he would be looking into the sun the whole time on the interstate, and then the same way on the way back. So he's like, that's not a case to be made to be betting on him in Las Vegas. I thought that was actually some insightful inside knowledge here. Whereas if he bought his house in Henderson, then it would have been more telling. Is there anything to that, Teddy?
Nah, okay. I don't think. It's not like it's a 6-hour commute from Summerlin to Henderson or something. This isn't L.A. It's a half hour. So it's not does Brady even drive? He's got a driver.
Oh yeah, I didn't put that into the equation, but it does make sense. I wouldn't want to look into the sun the whole ride. I'd want to be going with the sun in my bag.
I'm not buying that. The fact that he bought his house in Summerlin as opposed to in Henderson or in Green Valley, one of these places. Maybe there's something. I don't think there's anything to it.
Okay.
But the bigger question is, if I'm John Gruden, okay, do I really? Because it's going to be top dollar for Tom Brady. You're not getting Brady on the cheap. Do I want the 43-year-old quarterback and who? How good was Brady last year? He wasn't a Pro Bowler last year.
Yeah.
You don't want to take pot shots at Hall of Famers, but if you watched Peyton Manning in his last year, again, the Broncos won the Super Bowl. They won the Super Bowl despite Peyton Manning. He got benched for Brock Osweiler that season. Okay. Could Brady fall off the cliff like that? It wouldn't surprise me even a little bit to see Brady fall off the cliff like that. It happens to everyone at some point in their career. And if Carr's not the answer, the only place Brady makes sense is for a team that has all the pieces together to make a Super Bowl run without the quarterback. And I don't see a team like that. I don't see one team like that, except for maybe the New England Patriots.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I think the Patriots are the favorite here. I can't name a quarterback like that either. It's just a team like that without a quarter. Even Tennessee, Tannehill looked good last year. I don't.
And this is so important, Drew. It's so key. If you have a choice between right now, I'm an NFL GM. I can pay Brady, $20 million, $25 million this year, or I could probably get Tannehill 2 years for that. It's not even close. It's not even like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to bed and sleep on this. I'll take Ryan Tannehill in a New York minute over Tom Brady for next year. Not for what he's done in his career, but for next year. Tannehill running that offense the second season. Again, Vrabel might like his buddy. Is that going to make the Patriots better? I wouldn't count on it.
Yeah, I'm with you, Teddy.
Or the Titans better, I mean.
Yeah. Well, Teddy, anything else you want to throw out there before we shut this down?
I mean, that's what in terms of football. I mean, we're really trying to focus football, and we're going to have some real numbers here in March. One thing that happens in March, obviously, college basketball takes center stage. Wins yet, but we'll have free agency in play. We'll have the draft in play. There'll be plenty to talk about in the NFL and, of course, college, which we haven't really talked about much. Maybe we'll start doing some conference previews in the not too distant future. Talk about some of the spring ball. But for today, hey, like you said, Drew, it's been a pretty good couple of weeks, man. No question about it. The clients are happy. I'm happy. The bankroll's boosting. We're in pretty good current form. So if you're interested, take advantage of that special offer right now. Again, what is it? TC30 to get my 30-day all access.
No.
For what about
Teddy 30? TEDDY 30. Teddy 30 at checkout, guys, is the big discount there for Teddy Covers 30-day all access at sportsmemo.com. Teddy.
Yeah, and of course that'll take you right through the NCAA championship game, I believe. It'll certainly take you through the Final Four. So get on board. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a great Monday.
All right, Teddy Covers. And, yeah, that's why we made it 30 days, guys. Check it out, sportsmemo.com. Teddy 30 at checkout. More than $100 off of his 30-day all-access, good for 48 hours. 21-7, 75% all sports last 2 weeks. NBA since the All-Star break, he's 11-3. Seeing it clearly in the association, 79%. And also rock solid in college basketball, 64% college hoops. Last 3 weeks. The coupon code Teddy30 at checkout for his 30-day all access for just $199. Check it out. More than $100 off. Sportsmemo.com. 30 days all access with Teddy Covers. Coupon code Teddy30 at checkout. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Hit us up with any questions, any comments about the where the podcast needs to go in the Monday slot. We love hearing it at Teddy_Covers or at Drew Martin Bets on Twitter. Guys, best of luck with your bets. We'll talk tomorrow.